How are we doing this morning, Rips fans? Welcome back to JQLFC. Welcome back to the channel. It's the morning after Liverpool 2, Wolves 1. A great way to end the calendar year of 2025 for the Reds. Let's start with maybe before the match. And as you know, there's one thing that both clubs have in common, or should I say, one player, and it's the late great Diogo Jota. And it's such a nice gesture, a touching moment, if you will, for Diogo's son or sons to be walking out to the pitch with both sets of players. Another touching moment was, I think, the 20th minute, where every single fan, whether it was Liverpool or Wolves, standing up together in that minute of applause. I would say habitual, or the traditional ceremonial minute of applause on the 20th minute for Diogo Jota. This time it was done by both Liverpool and Wolves fans. Great gesture. As we all know, Diogo Jota was a magnificent player for both Wolves and Liverpool. I mean, after all, he was part of the team that got Wolves back into the Premier League so many years ago. And of course, he was an integral player for Liverpool, ultimately winning the Premier League with Liverpool. As far as the game itself is concerned, I mean, obviously there's just one way to start. First of all, for the first 40 minutes, it was back and forth. Wolves could have scored, we could have scored, but at the end of the day, or should I say in the 40th minute, Ryan Gravenberch broke the deadlock. Jeremy Frimpong was the one who provided the assist. And by the way, Jeremy Frimpong played a full game, which is nice to see. It's good to see him back in the squad. So he cut through to the byline and cut back with a cross. And Gravenberch was on hand to just strike the ball past the keeper. It was a very small gap between the keeper and the post, but he struck it beautifully. So in around the 41st minute was Liverpool 1, Wolves 0. So it was a morale booster for Liverpool. It was a morale downer for Wolves, having defended so well for 40 minutes. But there's no time to reflect and rest, not when the match is going on, because 90 seconds later, Wolves were down at 2-0. And this time, we finally got the moment. And what a time to have Florian Wirtz get his first goal for Liverpool. It was an intercept. I think it was an interception. And Hugo Ekitike countered. He started the counter, and he cut through in the middle. Florian Wirtz was right there waiting. A through ball from Ekitike to Wirtz, and it was a toe. I think it was a toe poke tap in past the keeper from Florian Wirtz, and Liverpool 2 up. And finally, Florian Wirtz has his goal. I remember just watching that moment and celebrating, because I'm so happy for Florian Wirtz to finally get his goal, to get off the mark, and I'm sure every single fan watching that match was also happy for Florian Wirtz. So we went into halftime 2-0. You would think, we should just see the game out, maybe score another goal. But typical of Liverpool this season, for some reason in the second half, we just relax. And what happens 7 minutes in the second half? A set piece again. Set piece again, ole ole. In our case, it always works against us. And it worked against us again, because it was a Wolves corner. And there was a header towards the goal. Alisson did everything he could. To stop the ball, which he did. But the Wolves player kind of like pounced on the rebound. There was a VAR check that on maybe there was an infringement on Konate, but it just like Ekitike on Christian Romero, it was a soft kind of pat on the back. It was a soft elbow, which really didn't mean much. So in the end, that goal counted and Wolves got one back. But beyond that, truth be told, it was after that goal. Although we did scare ourselves, we did scare ourselves when Wolves tried to attack again. But from then on until the end of the match, it was back and forth, back and forth. We could have scored, they could have scored, but nothing doing at the end of the day. As far as the refereeing, I just want to talk about the refereeing for a moment. Just a very quick comment on the refereeing. I think as I was watching the match, I kind of feel that Simon Hooper, it's not that he was bad or anything like that. You know, it's not like he was David Coote or Mike Oliver. You know, he wasn't bad. But I think that Simon Hooper was a bit too lenient. And when I say a bit too lenient, I'm not just talking about too lenient for Wolves. I think it was a bit too lenient for Liverpool as well. So there were a few foul calls that should have been called against Wolves, but in the end, Simon Hooper just said play on. Conversely, there were a few calls against us, against Liverpool. There should have been a few foul calls for Wolves, but Simon Hooper also said just get up and carry on. So I thought he was just a little bit too lenient, you know. So I thought maybe he could have been a bit firmer. So that's the thing. That's all I got to say about Simon Hooper. I think the refereeing was a little bit too lenient for both sides, you know. So, but other than that, I thought he was okay. Other than that, I thought the refereeing was like, no, okay, it's all right, quite free flowing in terms of the game as a whole. So other results. In fact, going back to just finishing up. At the end of the day, we won 2-1, and to be honest, 2-1 is the theme of the night. Apparently, the night started with Man City beating Nottingham Forest 2-1, and then of course we beat Wolves 2-1. Arsenal go back to the top of the table by beating Brighton 2-1, and Chelsea. This is an interesting one. Chelsea lost to Aston Villa 2-1, and Aston Villa now have 11 wins in a row in all competitions. Now, I think maybe just to end the video here with a question. I posted this question to the DR Sports panel last week in their roundup show, and I thought maybe I'll just post this question to all of you watching, and maybe you can leave a comment. Do you think Aston Villa could be a surprise challenger in this title race? Because if I'm not mistaken, right now the top four reads Arsenal, Man City, Aston Villa, and I think Liverpool is in fourth place because Chelsea lost to Aston Villa. So as a result, Chelsea is now in fifth place. Seems that Aston Villa is starting to become an emerging contender. I predict that excuse me. I predict that Arsenal and Man City will have a two-horse race, and us Liverpool will be maybe chasing. But Aston Villa seems to be just like lurking in the shadows. Even though they're in third place, they're lurking in the shadows. And if they keep this up, they could be a surprise contender for the Premier League, for the title race this season. But what do you think? You know, so just to end it around here, do you think Aston Villa could be a contender? Let me know in the comments. Leave a comment, and maybe leave a comment in terms of like going into the next year, going to the next calendar year. How do you think the title race is going to fare out for the rest of the season? Who do you think will be the champions? Who do you think will finish in the top four? Because right now, it seems like these four teams, Arsenal, Man City, Aston Villa, and us, Liverpool, we are starting to kind of like get away from the chasing pack. Chelsea is close by. Chelsea will not go away. You cannot rule Chelsea out. But the chasing pack, like I think Sunderland or Nottingham Forest, and I think maybe Crystal Palace and Bournemouth, they're starting to fade away. So it kind of like 5 teams fighting for 4 places. So who do you think will end up in the top 4 at the end of the season? What are your predictions? So let me know in the comments. So just to wrap things up, it's a great way to finish 2025 for Liverpool with a win, 2-1 over Wolves. Our next game is actually on their New Year's Day, their time. We host Leeds, and with a fresh memory of Allen Road 3-3 draw, I know Liverpool's gunning out for payback, and we want this payback. You know, for ourselves, because we messed up. We could have won at Allen Road, but we shot ourselves in the foot. We don't want to repeat that same mistake again. So, on to the next match at Anfield against Leeds. Let's get a payback. Until then, like, comment, share. Most importantly, subscribe. Have a great holiday. Celebrate the new year. Let's get back on Anfield. So until then, to everyone, I hope you have had a great Christmas, and I wish you a happy new year. I'll see you next year.